All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Jackson. I am the volunteer coordinator for AHC. Really appreciate you coming tonight. I appreciate you volunteering. We are still looking for new volunteers. So if you have any friends, neighbors, coworkers, anybody who might be interested in volunteering, please have them reach out to me. But we are starting next week and happy to have so many of you on board already. All right. Hopefully you've had a time to read these tips from other volunteers. I'm also going to have them up at the end of the slideshow. So I'm going to start by having everybody think about teenagers. Think about teenagers as students. You can think about it yourself. If you volunteered in the past, you know your teens, so you can either just have it in your head or add to the chat characteristics of teenagers and teenage students. Busy, overwhelmed. Mark. Social. Anxious, private, distracted. All right, here we go. Excited, have a lot going on. Okay, all of these are right. And all of these describe our teams. So those of you that have been doing this before, and maybe you'll be working with the same student as before, you know what you're getting into. But if you're new to this, these are teenagers that you're going to be working with. We really appreciate you taking on the challenge. And I guess the one thing that I can say about the teens and AHC program, for the most part, something for you to keep in mind is that they have other responsibilities. So they are students, but they might have jobs. They might take care of siblings or other family members. So it kind of gets to the busy and having a lot going on. So we, again, appreciate you taking on the challenge and to have some tips about how to make it a great year. So our program, our teen program, it's more than just tutoring. And these are two names, two things that you might hear over the course of the year. Project Discovery. Project Discovery is a state of Virginia-based program. They are our funder, our biggest funder for teen program and for our college and career readiness programs. So they really like hearing about all of our volunteers and the time that you put in working with our students. In addition to the tutoring, we have workshops, we have touch points. So those are things that we'll be going over, staff will be doing with students throughout the year. Might be things like financial literacy or social emotional learning, anyway, a variety of workshops, career development. So some of those we might pull you in on, but if you hear us talking about Project Discovery, that is our funder. So the other thing new to our teen program is called P2, or the Positivity Project. That is a curriculum on social emotional learning. We've been doing it with the students in our elementary school programs. They have a lot of great material, and we're going to be incorporating some of that into our teen program. So if you hear us talking about that, that's what it is. You might see some of it in action. You might ask your teens what they've done for the Positivity Project lately. So neither one of these are things that you'll be leading, but it's things that we're doing with our teens and that you can talk to them about. So as I said, tutoring, it's more, teen programs more than just tutoring. So building a relationship is really the most important thing that you're going to do with the students. If you don't have a good relationship, it's just unlikely that the tutoring and the academic part will go well. We will start the year with get to know you games. All of the staff will have idea. They'll have things that you can do as a group, things that you can do just with your student. games, questions. So you'll be able to ask your staff members about that. Remember, it takes time, and there are some boundary restrictions in terms of building a relationship with teens, and I'll talk more about that when we go over the volunteer agreement. And ask AHC staff. So if you're having trouble connecting with your student, if you're not sure what's going on with them, ask our staff. In many cases, the students have been in our programs for years. If nothing else, they're coming twice a week and seeing our staff twice a week. So our staff might have some ideas for you in terms of building that relationship. So talking about specifically what you're going to do when you come for your teen program session. Start with a check-in, take the time, again, to build that relationship. It's okay to just chat. You don't have to jump right into homework. Playing games, coloring, just talking about what they're interested in. All of that is fine. It's important. Student View and Canvas are the Arlington Public School platforms, and we're going to talk about these later. We have someone from Arlington Schools that's going to be here tonight that'll talk a little bit more about those, but we encourage you to have the student open them for you and look at what they're doing, what they should be doing, could be doing. Everything's online now. Our staff have the students' passwords. The students know their passwords, and you are encouraged to look at that. You can help them prioritize, help them plan. Think about the science fair, this bad example for this time of year, but things that are coming up, the students might not know. Study now, study the next day, and then you'll be ready when the test comes. Working on homework. So many of our students will have homework. They may not admit it immediately, but they do. But if they don't have homework, we've got a lot of ideas for you. You don't need to memorize all of this. Our staff will have ideas for you. I will be emailing this out afterwards. But again, you can talk about some of the other dimensions of teen program that they're doing. Student enrichment goals. We have every student set their own academic goals and enrichment goals. So it might be joining the wrestling team. You can help them figure out who the wrestling coach is. When are the tryouts? What kind of paperwork do they need to try out for the team? They need to see their doctor, things like that. So those are other things that you can help them with that are not academic. Our staff probably will have practice. They might have math worksheets or math games, different things. So your student might not have homework, but if they're not strong in a subject and they can use some extra practice, we will help you make that happen. Or if you have your own ideas, fantastic, bring them in, share them with everybody. Organizing backpacks, researching colleges, talking about careers, all of that is a productive use of your time and your students' time. So, our guest from Arlington County will be here in 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna skip right over this slide and go to the volunteer agreement. I'm gonna send everybody a link to this agreement. It is what we're asking you to commit to. So we're asking you to volunteer once a week and to please notify the center staff if you can't make it. Even if you're running late, you can, I will have phone numbers for you that you can text them. If you need to switch a day, miss a day, if you're sick, please stay home if you're sick. And anyway, but we're counting on you being there and just appreciate hearing from you. So, hi, Kristen. I'll circle back to you in a minute. Yeah. So confidentiality, these are students in Arlington schools, in our community. They might be people that you see around town. Just remember, don't share stories about them or anything about them really with other volunteers. Just talk to staff if you feel the need to talk about the students, have questions or anything. The boundaries are important. It's important to, we're saying build a relationship, but there are some limits around that. So not asking personal questions about sensitive topics, things like, you might think that a student has ADHD or other things that just sound, that you have questions about. Talk to the staff about that. So don't ask the students. If they bring up something to you, you don't have to say, no, we can't talk about anything personal. You can, but let them lead any kind of personal conversations about themselves, about their families, about their situations. We do not allow you to get together outside of programs. So you're going to be meeting with your student during teen program. Social media can be a great way to connect with your student, share funny videos. I don't know, somebody had a writing assignment one time and they were looking at social media, like how do these people, what do they write? How's their use of language? Let's analyze their grammar. So you can use social media, but don't follow each other. Same thing with photos and videos. All our staff have smartphones, so you can take a picture of something great is going on and you want to record that, but do that with our staff phone and not with your phone. Some people ask around the holidays or the end of the year if it's okay to give a gift. That you just please talk to the staff first. We don't want anybody feeling bad. No initiating touch, fist bump. This is not as big of an issue with teens as it is with the students in elementary school. And then the last thing is, if you need support, if you have any questions, our staff are there on site to talk. They're also available by email. They're available by phone, talking or texting. I guess keep in mind that they do go have a big chunk of their day with the elementary school students before they start teen programs. So they might not be immediately reachable when you need them, but they are available to support you. So please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. And if you have any trouble getting in touch with them, get in touch with me and I can help facilitate that. So are there any questions? Okay,
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, great, thank you. So Brittany is one of our guests and I'm gonna make her a co-host. And then Kristen is another guest and I'll make her a co-host. Let me see if I can go back in my slides. No, I'm gonna go this way. Okay, so let me welcome, we have Kristen from Arlington Public Schools here to talk a little bit about Canvas and Student View, and then she can introduce Brittany and Paper.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Kristen Schulman. I am a specialist in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at APS. We're really happy to be partners for many years with AHC and to get to know their staff a little more as we've worked more closely in the last few years doing some trainings. We met with them earlier this fall. They mentioned this opportunity to connect with you and share with you some of the resources that are within APS that you'll be able to use with your students. My background is actually in school counseling, so I'm very, very familiar with Canvas and Student View. So I'll speak about that briefly. And then I do have a colleague here, Brittany, who is with Paper Tutoring. That Paper is a online tutoring company that APS has contracted with. So it is a free resource that is available to all of our 6th through 12th grade students as well as families. So we'll get to that in a moment. So briefly, Canvas and Student View, these are the different online portals that our students and staff and families have access to monitor student progress. So Canvas is where the instruction is housed. So teachers, each class has a Canvas page. They update with their different class materials, whether that's PowerPoint presentations or worksheets or a calendar with homework assignments. That is a source of information, but also for content. Some teachers do some grading in Canvas, but that is not a universal practice yet everywhere. Student View is the other one. Student View is not going to hold the instructional content. It's mainly the account of students' records and grades. So a student can go into their personal Student View account and they can see their current grade book for each class. They can see what has been graded, maybe what's missing, what scores they got on things, what their current grade in the class might be. But really using those two together will probably be most beneficial for you because there are times when students have submitted something into Canvas as a portal, but it hasn't yet been graded by the teacher and the grade hasn't manually entered in Student View because they're not always synchronized. So there might be a delay there. You might have a student say, oh, well, I submitted it in Canvas. It's not updated yet. Will you be able to go in Canvas with them and have them be able to show that to you if you have some kind of question there? So those are going to be the two things that you will definitely hear about. Those are the language that the kids use. So again, if you're looking for kind of their overall grade in a class or, what we missing this quarter, Student View is probably a good place to start. And then you can dig into Canvas if you're looking for more specifics or if you're looking for instruction or content from this week or this specific assignment. And if there's any specific questions about that, you could pop those in the chat or we can open that up at the end of our speaking session. And I know there's a video on here too. There are some resources on the APS website. I do think they're not super up to date. I think they're a couple years old, but pretty much the same. Truthfully, your students will be very, very familiar with how to navigate this because they're all very used to it, especially since the pandemic years when it was everything they were doing. So they should be able to help you find your way there. But really, we wanted to spend our time tonight mostly speaking about paper tutoring. This is an amazing resource APS started with last year. I think it wasn't necessarily promoted or used as much as it could have been. So our office is really trying to help push this out. So I was really happy to have Brittany working with us and willing to speak with you all about the resources that paper can provide, how you can use it when you're working with students, and also how they can use it when they leave you and go home. So Brittany, would you like to get started?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I know it is late in the evening, and so really appreciate your time. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you wouldn't mind, stop sharing yours, Kristen. And if everybody could just take their phone out for me for 1 second. And just take a picture of this QR code. This is how your students will be able to access the paper platform. And so if you're ever in a situation where you're like, let's log on a paper, they're like, I don't know how, you can have them just scan this QR code and they can get on really easily. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for you all. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a really quick overview of the paper platform so that you know exactly what your students will be experiencing once they do log on there. So to kind of give you a quick orientation, it is a 24/7.
Are you planning to send documents to Ed tonight, tomorrow morning?
Okay, sorry. It is a 24/7 educational support platform. What that means is that the sessions with you in person are obviously super duper impactful, but what you can do to really supercharge the impact that you're going to be having with those folks is by getting students comfortable using this platform that they can access anytime. So we're going to have teachers using it during the school day with your students. They can also access it at home when they maybe don't have anyone to help them with their homework or to help them with an assignment. So I'm going to give you a quick orientation of what that looks like for your students. Once they use that QR code or they go to app.paper.co, they'll come to this dashboard where they'll be able to see, and actually I'm sharing my daughter's version here. Let me look at the secondary one for you guys. They'll be able to see all of the classes that they're currently taking because we're actually integrated with the student information system. We'll have all of those students' classes already populated. And here, I'm going to share my screen here so you can see exactly what that looks like. Perfect. And so what they'll do is they'll click on the class that they're looking for some help with. Biology is obviously a really popular one, and they're going to ask them, how would you like the tutor to help you? Would you like to chat with the tutor live, or would you like to get some writing reviewed? Usually they're coming in here and chatting with a tutor. We do have a couple of options. If they would rather text with the tutor, they can choose that option. That is our most popular one. Or if they rather send voice messages back and forth, they can do that as well. We want to be really accommodating to each student and how they prefer to communicate with folks. But most students do choose the text option. And that's actually really cool because that allows them to send some files back and forth as well if they can't really quite explain what it is they might need help with. So once they hit chat with the tutor, what we'll do is, because they went to the class that they're taking, they're going to be connected with someone that's actually certified in that area. So we work with all grade levels and all classes. And once they hit chat with the tutor, usually within 30 seconds, they will connect with someone live. I'm going to show you what a full session looks like so that you can see exactly what that experience would be like. That's why I had my daughters pulled up here for PII reasons. I can't show anybody else's, but my daughter was working on a summer math packet. I was busy working. And so I said, hey, log on a paper and go ahead and have them help you. And so I'm going to show you what that chat history looked like. And we're really big on, as you guys, I'm sure, are with your program as well, not giving students the answers, right? We want to really help them discover things on their own. And so as you can see, they try to be really friendly. How are you? How could I help you? They're going to ask for a little bit of information, and then they can send a picture of the document that they're working on with the camera on their device if they would like. They can also use a whiteboard. As you can see here, my daughter started to scribble some things on a whiteboard as well to show the tutor how she was thinking about solving the problem. And like I said, they do have that option to send voice messages as well. If they can't really type it out or draw it, they want to explain it. Lots of different ways for them to communicate with that tutor. And so, like I said, they do get a response usually within 30 seconds, and we'll work with that student until they resolve their issue. Any questions on the live tutor section?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
I had one originally, but I'll put that to the side. So what's your capacity?
So we have over 5,000 tutors that are employees of our company, and that's what allows us to staff 24/7. So we actually have a peak in the afternoon usually, and then 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. are actually our most popular hours of students using it at home.
How are you defining afternoon then?
So during class time, like 1 to 2 p.m., we'll have a lot of students logging in while they're in class, but 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. is another really popular time, but they'll be able to access it any time during the day.
So this is more for, well, because our tutoring period is from, someone correct me if I'm wrong, because it is what it is sometimes, but 5 to 7.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's a slower time, so they'll actually have a lot of capacity to deal with your students during that time.
no, I get that. I'm talking about your capacity. So you'll have people, because I'm assuming this isn't your only contract. So,
No.
right.
Yeah, we are staffed completely. So we have plenty of capacity in all subject areas, especially during the hours of 5 to 7. We provide support 24/7. We'll have employees there working with students. The only thing we may not have capacity for, and I will be perfectly honest, is we don't just tutor in English. We also tutor in Spanish, in Mandarin, and Portuguese, I believe. And those languages are not always available 24/7, but English and Spanish usually are.
Okay.
Any other questions from the group? No? All right, great. The other really popular feature that I wanted to share with you all today is going to be the Writing Center. So let me get back in here on this session so I can show you what that looks like. This is a really great feature that allows not only you to see what's going on with the student and that writing sample, if that's what you're going to be helping them with, but it also allows the teacher that is running that subject to see that work as well. And it's a great way to get that support kind of continuously going with that student. So for them, if they go to the Writing Center and say, hey, I just want to get writing reviewed, and this can be any work sample at all, they'll just come in here, they'll go to upload work. They can either browse files from the device that they have that they're working on, or they can upload something from a Google Drive. They can tell us the title of the work or the subject that they're working on. What type of submission is it? Is it creative writing? Is it a lab report? Is it resume, a college admission essay, and what language it's going to be in? They can give us any sort of prompts that they're answering or rubrics that the instructor has given them so that we know kind of what lens through which we're going to be reviewing that writing, and then any questions that they might have. And down here, it'll tell us in approximately how long that review will be ready. So once students have a review, they'll get a notification in the app, and it'll say, hey, your writing sample is ready to for your feedback. And they'll come in and they'll be able to see the feedback, which I'll show you in just a moment. Usually this is anywhere from 3 to 12 hours. 26 is on the high end for sure. Usually they'll get it back within that 24-hour range. Do all the students have computers, or are the computers available at the tutoring locations to use these websites together?
So I just answered that, Amanda. So our middle school students all have iPads, and our high school students all have MacBooks, and those are given to them for them to keep and to bring home. I don't know if there's also devices at the locations, but every student should have something with them.
Great question. Awesome. And then once they get that writing feedback, they'll get a summary of kind of what the tutor thought of that piece of work. And we're always starting by being encouraging. We're making sure to kind of build their confidence. That's really what all of this is about. Let them know what they did well, and then we'll give them some things that they can work on. So they can read the summary here, and then they can download the file, and then they'll be able to see that tutor's particular feedback on things that they can improve upon going forward. And so we are pushing for the students to be using this writing review center at the district with their teachers in class as well. And so this is a great way for you to follow up with that work that they're going to be doing during the school day as well. Any questions on the writing review center? No. Okay.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Will the students be able to have access to see what grade level they're at, and maybe, like, for example, the English class they're in, to be able to grade and give feedback accordingly?
So your question was, are we able to see what grade level they're on in order to give them appropriate feedback?
Yeah, like if they're in 9th grade versus 12th grade, maybe what level of English class they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. So this doesn't give you a ton of detail here, but this is actually more detailed when you're looking at their actual courses. It'll tell you what grade level, whether it's an honors or an AP course, whether it's a kind of intervention course that they're involved in. And so you'll be able to see what level that they're on. Our tutors can see that information as well. Great question. Any other questions?
There was a question to me. Could you share the QR code again before you wrap up?
Absolutely. Yes. Let me go back here. Perfect. And let me know if I need to make that a little bit bigger.
And also, we're going to have paper copies
Yes.
about paper in all of our classrooms, and I will email the information to everybody. So
Yes, I do have some electronic copies of the flyer, so I can send that to you, Laura. And then Brittany has provided me a ton of paper copies for you all to post at your respective centers. We have English ones, Spanish ones. They've got the QR code and some different formats that explain the different kind of benefits too. One thing I want to add, I thought was a good use that I hadn't thought of before, is actually using the tutors as well to just get a better understanding of what something's asking for. So if you're working with a student and they have an assignment, maybe it's something you're not familiar with, a book you haven't read, and you just need some clarification, kind of logging on with the student and asking just to get a better understanding of what it is that the assignment is asking for. That's something that the paper tutor is able to do as well. That's also something you can encourage if you're working with parents that they can do. So if they're having trouble trying to help their student with an assignment, they can chat as well with the student.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I'll share, I don't know how relevant it is for the grade levels that you guys are working with, but paper reading is another really great resource in terms of building confidence and measuring progress. And so this is designed for students grades 3 to 12, where they can actually come in here and they can either pick assignments from the library that we have, or their teachers can upload an assignment for them, and it'll actually have them read to the platform, and it will score their fluency based on that grade level that they're in. And so I think Michelle asked a question a little bit earlier about making sure it's appropriate for that particular student. Paper reading is a great way to get a baseline for that student on where the fluency score is, kind of what range they should be in based on their grade level. and then measuring progress in that fluency throughout the school year as well. And so I have a 4-minute video, which I don't want to spend too much time showing today, but I'll make sure to send that link to Kristen so she can pass it along so everyone can get an overview of that if they would like.
Hello, quick question.
Yes.
I posted it in the chat already, but does Canvas, I tried to use it last year, does Canvas show prior test results? So if they took a test a week or two ago, I had trouble getting any view for past test results in there. Is that something that should be possible, or does it require certain steps to do?
If there was a test that they did in Canvas, sometimes teachers they have like the function for students to do it online within Canvas, it would be in there. But if you're looking just for a paper exam score, something that a student took a couple weeks ago, that would be what you would go to Student View for. That's really like the grade book of all assignments.
So Student View is where I go to. Does the student have access to all those things, or they need to ask
Yes,
for it?
yep, it's called, there's Student View, and then the parents have one called Parent View, but that's kind of like their active grade book where you'd be able to find that. Like I said, it does depend on the teacher. Some are using Canvas and they also have everything in Canvas, not necessarily. Some are using more in Canvas. So, and this is, it's a challenge for the students too, because every situation is a little bit different. But so I really just recommend using both of them. It might vary by class where you find a certain thing, but so using them as a pair should give you all the information.
Are the teachers by default using one or the other to post all tests, not just digital ones, or do you have to ask for like what's more common? Because I generally found I couldn't find anywhere, Student View or Canvas.
Well, it definitely needs to be somewhere. It's possible that at the time maybe you were looking, there was some delays happening. Sometimes teachers get behind on grading and then they don't post everything immediately. That is always possible, and there's always a lot of catch up happening around the times of the quarter ending or the interim grade reports in past years. So there's some ebb and flow there. So it's not intended to be one or the other. They're intended to be used together.
And if I can't find them, who do I ask to figure out when the ETA? Because I generally found that they weren't being posted where I could see them there. So who's the proper person to ask for those things?
So if you have the release of information form signed by the parent, then my suggestion would be to contact the school counselor, even instead of the regular teacher. I think that can often be someone that knows about the student in all of their classes, and they might be able to help you that way. But you do need to be able to provide that release of information form, or ROI, and sometimes it's abbreviated too.
I have never heard that mentioned before. Laura, is that a thing we've done before?
So for our volunteers, you will go to the staff at your center. And then I think the staff have that and are in touch with the counselors at the schools.
Oh, okay, sorry. Didn't know your role, Francis.
Yeah, they should be able to help you bridge that.
Thank you, Laura and Kristen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Soraya, I think you had a question as well.
Oh, no, I was just going to say too, if any of those issues come up, reach out to staff. We have those forms and can communicate with counselors or teachers.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brittany and Kristen. I really appreciate y'all joining tonight. And for everybody else, if you think of other questions later, I can relay them back and forth. So I appreciate y'all joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good luck this year.
Great. All right, I've got just a little bit more of my presentation, and then we're going to go into breakout rooms. So just wanted everybody to be clear about the fall schedule. Program starts next week. Woohoo! We follow Arlington Public School holidays and school closures. So no program on Monday, October 9th, no program on Tuesday, November 7th. Our staff will do their best to let you know about all these upcoming holidays. I will as well, but I will also send you a link to that school calendar. We typically close the full week of Thanksgiving. We follow the winter holiday schedule, and hopefully it's too soon to say this, but for weather delays and closures, we will do our best to email you to confirm, but we would be following the school. Alexandra I'll let Zariah get back to you in the breakout room about when you're going to start. So again, I said this at the beginning, I'm the volunteer coordinator. Momentarily, I'm going to be turning you over to the staff at the center where you'll be volunteering. But if you have anybody that wants to volunteer, if you know of a group that wants to make snack bags or welcome baskets, you have ideas for training sessions, or a session that you could lead for the teens. If you have trouble getting in touch with your center staff, I am available. So please, get in touch with me. Everybody should have my email. But for the specific questions about your center, the center staff are going to be your main point of contact. So let them know if you're sick or running late or need to switch days. If you have questions, if you don't know where to find things in the classroom, if you don't know, having trouble using Canvas, for any of those things, please talk to the staff at the center. Oops, hold on. I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly, but then I will also send this out to you afterwards. But our staff, they all have email addresses, and that phone number is good for texting and calling. So please make a note somewhere where you can find it in your phone, in your email, give it a star, whatever, so that you can find the information for the staff at your center. And the photos in here correspond with the buildings. Come on. Sorry, a little trouble here. Gates of Boston, Harvey Hall. I have this photo of Harvey Hall because that's the door that volunteers go in and out. There are double glass doors that are not in this photo that say Harvey Hall, but this little nondescript green door, it'll be propped open, and that's where you will come and go. Virginia Gardens is actually another tricky spot because the classroom is on the lower level, below the parking lot level. And our staff will go over all of this again in the breakout room. So, okay, so hopefully the breakout room works. You choose your breakout room. So let me try to launch this now. And you don't need to come back in here after you talk to the staff at your center. So thank you so much for taking the time to come tonight, and thank you for volunteering this year. I'm really excited to have you.